Welcome guys, Retro Sumus are back at it again with another independent release for the Sega Dreamcast and many other consoles.
Get ready! Part man, part machine, all proletarian.
Now personally, I get really excited when indie developers release games that are dedicated just for retro gaming consoles. I just personally find that there's a lot more dedication, a lot of support and passion when it comes to releasing these games when you compare it to something like a PC with Steam getting about 1,000 of these independent games every week or so. Now I'm a bit of a fan when it comes to Retro Sumus because I really enjoyed their first release, which was Xenocider, which I do still have here. I got the DVD released version, or DVD case. And I do have the Wave UK released version. One interesting fact about Wave, which unfortunately recently they have gone under closure, but their stock that they had on their site has been transferred over to the Sprite web store if you guys want to check that stuff out. And when it goes, unfortunately it is gone. But Xenocider, being an awesome title for the Dreamcast, really tapping into the hardware because they developed their own game engine to build this game. So this really pushed the hardware compared to a lot of other indie developers releasing games for this system. And one thing I really liked was the soundtrack, and that guy, Juno Martin, is back at it again with this release. Just check out this awesome sounding track that's going to be released on this new game. Awesome, right? Well, again, I'm really looking forward to this release as it's really pushing the hardware of the Sega Mega Drive this time. Now, personally, I don't look at every independent release game, but this one I must say is the most ambitious game I have seen to date. As we can see, we've got around 16 tiers that you can select from yourself and 3 bonus items you can add on. And I will go into more in-depths on these soon in this video. Now, much like the Xenocider project, these guys have been in contact with me, and that's one thing I really liked about the previous release, because they shared with me a lot of detail, great communication, and just really opened themselves out about finally getting this game out there, about the commitments and the sacrifices that they did just to get this game out on the system that they've beloved many years ago. Oh, and there's also a couple of bonus things that are free for you guys to download as well. So you can download the demo already. So I've packed this on my Mega Drive cartridge. So I'm going to pop this into the original hardware and I'll show you some gameplay and have a bit of a first hands-on review. So first, let's check out all these tiers of what this company is going to provide you if they manage to reach their goal. You've got the early bird cheaper option that was first released for the Mega Drive and the Genesis version with the OG box, the red cartridge and the manual. This is all sold out. Not to worry, these are still available at the slightly higher price. The big box MS-DOS CD version, another version using the floppy disks, looks like it's using 5 of these floppy disks, and a jump up in price for the Neo Geo NVS version for the SNK arcade cabinets. And then we have a console version for the AES with that big red cartridge. Now for a more reasonable price is the Dreamcast standard CD-ROM case. A little jump up in that price then is the Dreamcast PAL edition, a very tasty edition, but that price is a little too steep for myself personally. Oh, and we can get ourselves a nice Steely book edition. I do love myself a Steely. Oh, and to mention, any of these selected tiers that you purchase, your name will be included in the ending credits, which is pretty awesome. Coming up next is the Big Box Collector's Edition. First one is called the Pelican, the Soviet Borgs for the Genesis and the Mega Drive. A limited Pelican box edition complete with manual, reversible cover, numbered thank you card, deco sheet, and a bonus OST disc. Now for the Neo Geo Absolute Edition, which includes the Soviet Borgs for the AES and a copy of the NVS with the OSD and a poster, a sticker sheet and a Soviet short novel, all in a highly collectible secret file fancy box, all numbered and signed, in which you can also choose which region you want your cartridge to be designed, which will be for the Japanese variant or the US. We got the Emperor Edition now, which basically includes every release for the big time supporters out there. So including a Soviet Borgs Pocket Box, a Dreamcast Standard Edition, a Mega Drive CIB, and then the MS-DOS Big Box, the CD and the floppy version, and the steel box edition for the Dreamcast, and the MVS and AES versions. What, no sticker book? Well, I'm sure they'll include that anyway. And last but not least, when it comes to these big collector's edition, is the Blue Comrade. Personally my favourite so far, which does include the PAL edition of Soviet Borgs, the PAL edition of the Soviet Borgs for the Mega Drive as well, the OST, a poster, a sticker sheet, and the Indiegogo exclusive PAL reprint of Xenocider, and that super exclusive, never to be produced again, Xenocider VMU shell. And of course it will be signed and numbered in a fancy, highly collectible classified case. And now for the big three perks. Yes, it gets even bigger than that. You could choose from a custom Mega Drive console, a Dreamcast console, even a PC. We've only got descriptions of this so far, no pictures at the moment that I can find. This does include a Soviet Borg CIB game as well with 4 of each console, but it does state that before pledging, discuss and connect with Retro Summoners themselves about the contents and the packaging. After selecting your pledge, there are also 3 add-ons that you can select from: a pocketbook, an OST CD, or even the Soviet Borg t-shirt. A very lovely little touch. Oh, and if you were one of these unlucky guys that missed out on picking up Xenocider, they have restocked a PAL edition so you can pick up yourself on their dedicated Indiegogo page. So yes, there's quite a lot of tiers that you can select from, and personally I think this must be the most ambitious Indiegogo I've seen for the Sega Dreamcast or even retro gaming consoles. Now out of all of these, there's a few that are my personal favourite, in which you probably already know, and that is of course the Dreamcast Standard Edition, that PAL, but I would say that price is a little too steep. That Steely Edition looks really tasty, but overall that Blue Comrade Edition with everything all together, and the limited print run and that exclusive VMU shell does look amazing, but a man can only dream. And of course they do have some stretch goals that are worth checking out. In the timing of this video anyway, they are just over a quarter way there, and they have extended their pledge date. Retro Sumus was kind enough to contact me and state some issues that are holding back some unfortunate support of this release, in which I'll definitely go through more details soon in this video. But let's fire up the demo on my original Mega Drive for first impressions and a little bit of a story of how this release all came together, that they were kind enough to share with me.
Shit's ready.
Let's first chat about Retro Sumus and their game creation. They are a small development team located in Spain, and apart from the Xenocider, they have also worked on titles like Pia Solar, Ghost Blade, and the Dreamcast releases of Flashback and Fade to Black. For this release we do have some additional extras on board to get this game out there. Most noticeably is Adam Korolik, a YouTuber that I've been following for many years. He is down for some voice acting, so can't wait. The Soviet Borgs are a new elite unit of the Red Army, determined to eliminate all remaining pockets of resistance and free thinking. Immune to the radiation, they can go where no one else can and liberate them of their pitiful existence for the glory of the world without crime, that is. So you as the player take control of the squad of 3 Soviets, with the goal being to explore this devastated world that is left and wiped out the monsters and rebel fractions that patrol the land. And if you haven't noticed already, they have been inspired by games like the Chaos Engine, Jurassic Park and Gauntlet. The game features pre-rendered graphics that were developed using similar techniques to the classic Donkey Kong Country or even Vector Man, whilst this music takes inspiration from Red Alert and the Soviet Strike series. Now for my short review of this demo, taken with a grain of salt of course, I have noticed some slowdown with the music, and I can tell this is not one of the strongest selected tracks for this game. There are slowdowns whilst in gameplay, but I'm sure these will all be ironed out. But the enjoyment factor is still there, especially as this release is tapping to what the Mega Drive can handle. It would be nice to for some more interactive environments and some destructive elements, like this fountain here. I found there is no movement at all, and for this bin you can't really destroy it or collect anything from it. A mini-map of the level would be nice, indicating where the enemies are and where the goal is. I found myself walking around quite a lot trying to finish off where the enemies are. A health bar for the individual Soviet Borgs would have a nicer touch just to give the player notice on when they're going to drop out. And the grenades could have a little bit more power, as it only takes out 1 enemy at the moment. I found out using the A button for strafe shooting a lot better to use. I found the apocalyptic settings to have a refreshing feel, as I haven't seen this for a while, especially on this system. And when it comes to the second level, the environments are completely different. I enjoy the fact that you can control 3 players at once. A 2-player mode would be pretty awesome. But from Retro Sumus, I do believe that their final release will definitely be more polished up. And what's this dead guy all about? And I can already tell this will be a great addition to the Sega indie lineup and stand out as one of the better ones out there that I'll be more than happy to support. This type of genre is great for this hardware. They have stated themselves that putting this game on a modern platform would be more of a better investment, but giving the buyers a better physical product that they can enjoy having in their hands instead of trying to make themselves heard in a market as huge and diverse as Steam. All versions that are available are native to their platforms. Some parts would rather remake instead of adapting them so they can take advantage of the specific hardware. So as you can tell with the video promotion, graphically nothing has changed from platform to platform, but you will get the higher resolution support. For instance, with the Mega Drive you get 240p resolution and the Dreamcast will have 480p, but also with that CD quality audio. But I can tell that Juno Martin behind the music will take advantage of that awesome character from the Mega Drive sound. These guys are also sharing for free the first chapter of the Soviet Borg short novel written by Alan Dick Jr. Yeah, that's his name, and presented in the unmistakable style of the classic Spanish pocketbook, helping players get into the atmosphere of Soviet Borgs. Now, to tell you guys the troubles that the PR from this game has been kind enough to share with me, they do say that it feels like no one knows us anymore and the project is not really convincing anyone. They did think that Xenocider coming out, even after our Kickstarter failed back then, it would bring people to the campaign. But I guess scammers and failed Kickstarters and even perhaps Patreon game have made people more careful with their money, and they say personally they know they are. And Indiegogo platform is not even taking PayPal this time, which is a huge letdown and was one of their main income on the previous Kickstarter. I do believe that the release of Patreon was just a huge mess in which that ended up just giving it more publicity. That's just how news work, in which unfortunately influenced and affected the entire indie retro gaming scene. But one indie company that failed many customers will not spoil every other individual indie company, adding their own great supported content, especially for the likes from Retro Sumus with the Xenocider release, being brought to us and delivering what they originally stated in the Kickstarter, which was very welcomed by the Dreamcast fanbase, even though the funding failed and taking them out of pocket to keep and benefit us, the customers, at the end of the day. So guys, I do encourage you checking out the Indiegogo. They're a great company and I am looking forward to when this game is finally released, which is later next year. So I'm definitely adding my contribution to this final release. So thanks for watching, and as always, if you like this video, hit that button. And if you want to support this type of content, subscribe, leave your comments below, and I'll catch you lot on my next video.